Alright. I'm going live because I do not have any room on my phone. And I just filled this up with some really good stuff throughout the week that I'm going to be downloading and editing. I'm thinking it's a fictional idea. I want to preface this by saying this is totally 100% fictional. This is just like an idea in my head. Okay? And in this idea, I am thinking about how I got distracted by this car next to me. What's the idea? Okay, let me drink a little bit of water. My mouth is a little dry. So here in New York City, Governor Cuomo has put himself out there as the guy who's going to take your liquor license if you do not follow his rules. And his rules are really not his rules, because in New York City, in order to get a liquor license, which is separate from a beer and wine license, a liquor license in New York City is you have to have a kitchen. That's the law in New York. You have to have a kitchen. You have to be serving food in order to be able to have a liquor license. And a lot of kitchens in bars don't open. What we had done was this little loophole where I had to have all the plumbing for a kitchen and this particular vice that allows gas to be regulated. Good story about this gas regulator that I got. Across the street from this bar that I worked at for many, many years, there was this restaurant. It was a chicken and waffle spot, very famous chicken and waffles. I believe they were the creators of the concept of chicken and waffles, and that was Miss Wells. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. And Wells Chicken and Waffles was on 7th Avenue, which is Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, between 132nd and 133rd. This restaurant was on it took up 3 storefronts, and it was on, that's going east, so that's the east, and it's going north. It would be the northeast corner of 132nd Street. And Miss Wells, God bless her heart, she had tried to renovate the place, and there was some sort of I got robbed by the contractors speech. You know, you always hear that. I don't know any of the particulars or any of the stuff that goes on, but I do know that it didn't. She failed after like 50 years. She failed, and there was some issue with some contractors running out of taking her money, and there was another issue with, I believe there was like this bartender who became her business partner. And I remember sitting in Miss Wells. That's another story. I'm gonna tell that story. That story is gross. I could have made a right turn right there. No, we're good. So we found out that this regulator is like that you have to have this regulator, and and an inspection was coming the very next day, or later on that day. There was an inspection coming for our plumbing, and the license plumber. It's like, yo, you have got to have this down. You have to have this, which was a slot, which was you had to have a grease trap, and you had to have this device, and all the plumbing had to be set. So we set up all the plumbing, and it was all underneath my VIP lounge seating. So when you opened up the seating to the VIP lounge, in the seating was the pipes for our gas ran kitchen. And I went over across the street because the Miss Wells chicken and waffle joint failed, and they were demoing the spot. So I run inside to find somebody I can talk to before they're actively demolishing the kitchen, throwing everything out into the, whatever they couldn't sell. They're demoing the walls and all that. So I run over to the guy and I says, yo, you see that pipe right there? I need that pipe. And he was just like, oh yeah, you need that pipe? I was like, yeah. And he was like, yo, they told me to demo everything here, and they want this pipe. This is what he says. And I says, come on, nobody wants that pipe, man. You don't even know what that pipe does. He says, yeah, I know what that pipe does. And I go, okay, how much? I'll give you $50 for that pipe. He says, no, $250. And I was like, come on, $250. He says, let me tell you, this pipe used is $600. And I was like, all right. So he just took his saw and just cut it off. I mean, this guy knew what he was doing, and I respected it. That was a small price to pay. We wound up connecting that pipe to our system. It was beautiful, and we put the grease trap. The grease trap was so small; it was like a little cube. It was the most ridiculous grease trap you would ever see, and the grease trap was actually underneath my cabinet for the for the liquor. So in the liquor cabinet on the floor is the cutest little grease trap. We're like, what is this device here for? And that's because in New York, you always had to have a kitchen, but there was that loophole where you can get away with just having the plumbing past the inspection, because the whole point is no one is going to believe you're going to get all your paperwork. I don't need to have the stove here, man. The stove is coming. It's on its way from Italy. And they're like, okay, of course, you got all the stuff that you need to connect it. You got all the drains, you got everything. And I had to buy the 3-compartment sink. I got a little 3-compartment sink to match the little cube. And they were like, well, what kind of pots are you going to use? And I was like, no, we're not using any pots. We're using I said, we're only using everything microwave. Now, did I say microwave? I don't know. Whatever I said, it worked. And they were like, all right, you passed. So we got all our paperwork to open up this bar. But in New York, yeah, so Cuomo, he's yelling and screaming about how people are yelling at him saying that, yeah, what are you talking about? They have to have food. Yeah, it's part of the thing. You have to be serving food in order to sell liquor. So he has this task force, and they're riding around taking people's liquor license. So that's the beginning of the story. So now I had this idea in my head of a fictional idea, just like I was just massaging this thought, and that is, all right, let me put it in character form. You got this worker at one of these places. He's a chef, and this chef, because I'm a chef, he's a chef, I'm gonna write what I know. All right, forget about it. So now you have this chef, and this chef is like, just sick and tired of watching the way the police are just coming and just writing all these tickets. And the guy's like, yo, you're trying to make a point that people can't do a certain thing, but look, I'm trying to make a living over here. So the chef is very frustrated, and he's like pissed the F off. So what this chef does is that he goes to all the bars and all the clubs that were shut down in the last week in New York City, and he has a conversation with these guys and gals, the women and the men, and says, listen, there's a way we can win. So I don't want to get all political in the character, like the character's like, they're trying to, This is eugenics. This is Agenda 21. They're trying to destroy us. Da, 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 da. They want to, give us all these shots and, like coming across. This character doesn't come across as a anti-vaxxer. In my mind, this character is strictly about being pissed the hell off at the system, and has been researching and has been part of the mom and pop. The new word is mom and pop. That the mom and pop investor. That's what I'm called now. So my investings that I'm doing, I'm referred to as the mom and pop investor. And this guy convinces the people that have gotten their liquor license taken, have been suffering because of what's going on with these laws and not allowed to use loopholes anymore. And then we have Governor Cuomo, and it's all looking like this is all him. And he's like, this guy, his ego is crazy, and I don't want any smoke with the governor. I'm just saying, get those people together, because this character, as an investor, this character will now be able to tell these men and women that are losing their businesses and that their businesses are being crushed, letting them know, like, listen, there's a way out of here. That this character's been watching the stock market and says, look at this one particular stock. This one particular stock just so happens to be owned by this person who you've been seeing a lot lately. There is a possibility that this person here that's pulling the strings on all these people here, this person just so happens to own this business. Here's the proof. Here is the link. We followed the money and we found where some of it is being stashed. And the stock is low, but it keeps on jumping up. And he convinces these New York tri-state area people that are seeing their businesses and their lives being destroyed, and says, let's cash out. Let's put everything on black. So he convinces them to drop 100 G's. That first week, boom, $100,000. Stock goes up $5 on a Monday from where it was on a Friday. And it's been doing that on a 14-day cycle. Oh, shucks, I just missed my turn. Jeez Louise. I just missed my turn. No, I'm fine. Still at the same time. So that Monday, they believed in him. And then they did it again. And they did it again. And they're winning. Because let me tell you, not me, I'm not getting in bed with those creatures. Let me tell you, these creatures are into making money. They figured it out. Don't get it twisted. They figured it out. And they leave clues. And if you follow the money, all of this could be lost. As we can see, and just think about it, how many bar owners would you need to drop the first 100,000? How many bar owners would you need? You got 100,000. How many? Not many. Not many. That'll be something where someone is like, listen, let's put 200, after the first round, let's put 250K down. Boom. They start cashing out every $15, every $5, whatever it is. This is the story in my head. A fictitious story in my head. But art can imitate life. And there is a way out of this. And that is through politics, because they got us in here through the legislation, all this whole pandemic. If you can have a pandemic, prove that it's real, then you can stop the Constitution. That's what they did. And to all law enforcement watching this, I love y'all. And let me tell you, this same scenario can happen with law enforcement and that same chef. Hypothetically, of course. Because it's all about foreign and domestic. It's all about understanding that there's just a small group that see through it all, that see through the queue, or the queue was the way it had you open your mind, and now you're starting to see a little past that, and you're starting to say, maybe I'm being played. Maybe whatever your maybe is, that scenario with that chef can happen with law enforcement too. They can get together. Thank you. They can have that meeting. They can get to the bottom of that and maybe drop something heavy on that market and start the winning. It's about time the good start winning. It's about time. So I like this character. This character is angry. And this character is just a blue collar guy that knows nothing other than this right here has a pattern. And I've been watching this pattern. And it'd be nice if I had more than $2,000 to freaking invest in it. And this character puts out a cry for the other bar and club or law enforcement or like-minded people who ready to put their money up, because they know soon money won't be anything. It's going to be nothing. It's going to be a joke. Too many mom and pops are losing their businesses. The mom and pops need to get together with that chef. That fictional chef lives in us. Lives in all of us. You are appreciated. You do know that on the Elvis Rosenberg channel, we are on the value for value system. And that value for value system, I can't tell you what it is. Like, if you went out to dinner and you had 3 drinks, you got yourself some good value there. What is something like that worth? put it in the Cash App. So we're talking about, if you went the Cash App route, it would be Cash App, which is the $ Elvis Rosenberg, spelled exactly the way it's spelled in the channel, Elvis Rosenberg. And if you were doing Venmo, you can use 646-732-6976. Put that in your contacts, and then use your Venmo to send it to @Elvis/Rosenberg, and it'll pop up. That's 646-732-6976. You are appreciated. And that number is for Venmo only. And if you want to text, you could text, but no calls. Boom.